Hey, Seminole State family, it's Nicole from the library. We are going to get ready to really research with some real librarians and find out if positive psychology impacts success. I need some positive psychology today, right, fellas? Where you at? Where you at? Come on.
Hi everyone, welcome.
Hello.
That's Ross. That's Nicole. I'm Jason. We're getting right into it today. Today we're going to be doing this and hit the outro. Oh wait, no, we still have 30 minutes to go. Sorry, that's too early.
That was the easiest.
Too early.
we
Sorry.
Did.
Too
Yes.
much.
Welcome to our Seminole State family, watching live, watching on the replay. It's good to have you. And yes, today, as Jason said, we're getting right into it. Does positive psychology impact success? So this is the series where real librarians research live. So we're just modeling out the process. Okay. If you're watching live and you want to comment in, and if you have your own research question, we can put this on hold and help you out, because that's what librarians do. If you ask us a question, we've got to answer it. Okay. So Ross,
is positive psychology, that's a different thing? So there's a negative.
What are we talking about here?
Just like even keel psychology
Well, I think what we mean by positive psychology is, I think it means a lot of things, right? Like everything from happiness research and positive thinking. There's a lot of things under that umbrella, right? So that was kind of the first thing that I thought about with this question is like, what exactly are we looking at? It might still be kind of broad, and we're talking about success, and like that's another thing. Like I don't know exactly what success.
Yeah, like who's success? Success in what? And this is definitely part of one. It should be one of the first parts of the research process is figuring out.
Mm-hmm.
Are you really searching the right thing? Do you need to massage the topic? Do you need to work with a librarian to help you do that? Or even with your professor who has subject area knowledge that could help you narrow in on a good topic? So let's get started, because I think once we start searching, we're going to find out, hey, maybe we need to change up this, our prompt a little bit, or our thesis, you might call it.
Yeah, but what I like about starting out with a question like this is it's kind of broad, and if I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking for, it does give us an opportunity to do a lot of background reading about this topic, kind of learning about what we're actually looking for. And it might even help us start to shape that question a little bit better there. And my first thought when we were talking about this is if I'm looking for something and I'm not exactly sure where to go with it, one of my first thoughts is to take a look at a tool called Google Scholar. I'm a huge fan of it. And it works really well because what it does is it casts this net. Right? It's going to look for any citations that Google can find for sources that are freely available to us somehow. Right? So what I'll do a lot of the times when I'm starting out is I'll just run a really broad search here to just see what might exist. Right? And then we can start to shape our search and we can work backwards a little bit. So, I mean, I might just ask Google, since Google will understand what I'm asking it to a degree. I might even just ask them the question, does positive psychology impact success? It's not the greatest search approach here, but I think it's going to illustrate what we're talking about today, because we found 4 million things that have something to do with this topic, right? And I don't know what kind of time you have on your hands, but that's a lot, right? So we have to start making some decisions as we look at this. So
can you increase the size, Ross? We can't see it.
Yeah, it looks to me like there are saying success is like that, a noun of like success, and I'm going to read into that and say it means like a employment or a high-paying job, but like what is it really? I mean,
I'd lead the other way.
Success in business, success at school.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking just to, before we get into the research, I was thinking it's more you're going to be successful in life. If you're more positive, you're going to have a better life. So that success is subjective.
Yes. So we need to really know exactly what we're talking about here.
So yeah, maybe success isn't the right word to use here when we're searching. We saw that pretty quickly, that success is pretty broad. So maybe that's it. Maybe we want to do how could we say life success?
Just a thought, fellas. What if we click on at least one of these, the top of this list, and see what they are? Maybe try to get an idea of what they were referring to.
Well, sure.
As far as success goes, just kind of taking a look at the first thing.
Yeah, let's look at this first one, because I mean, one of the first things you want to do whenever you're trying to judge a source is you kind of want to learn what this source is, right? So I see a few things right off that caught my eye. When it's talking about current successes, it's all talking about school-based stuff, and it's from a publication called Review of Education. My guess is they're talking about like academic success here, and then we could play that whole game of trying to describe what is academic success.
Are you going to open it up? Oh, you just read the
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at what the citation is. Now, what will happen is if Google was able to find a version of that source online, they're going to give you a link over here. Like this has a PDF link. So that somewhere out there online, this article is freely accessible to us. But if we look directly below it, where there's all this white space, that means Google couldn't find that. So that's somewhat of a limitation here, is that not everything is going to be freely available. But now at least we know there's sources that exist, so we could do a little bit of digging too. But yeah, let's take
look at one of the
first article.
I still don't know what positive psychology is. We don't want a definition. You tell me. We have 3 different brains here, I think.
I know. I just want to look at one. I just want to get some kind of like. I just want to get. I don't want to see this abstract. Okay, so abstract is like the summary. Kind of tell us what this article. Increased interest in youth development has shined. Blah 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 blah.
Okay. So they're talking.
Yeah. See. Okay. So here's an example. I don't know any, like Jason's saying, what's positive psychology? Like this is an example of. We just dug into an article at my urging. Okay. And it's already like, I'm like, what is going on here? Further proof that I need to know what positive psychology is before I do more research.
Right. So that might even take us into a different search. We might even just run a Google search and figure out how to describe positive psychology here.
Okay.
I'm just looking kind of for a definition at this point.
Hey, I asked, Jason asked, drop an emoji, how are you feeling today? And Reese was like, okay, what? Reese, if you, I do not know what this emoji means.
That's
I've never
happy.
asked my 13-year-old daughter. No, I don't think it is. I think it's kind of like in the weird space, because that's like where I am today. I'm wondering what Reese is feeling.
Ross, this is the article that I pulled up. Let's evaluate really quick. Let's take a look up top. We have someone with a master's degree and then somebody with a PhD. That's
they reviewed it,
right? And so if we scroll down, we're getting to Peterson. It looks like in 2008. It's more on what we were talking about, not about necessarily success in the workplace or whatever, but more right there, success in make a life most worth living. So I think we're getting into that track now of being like positive and happy and inspiration.
Positive psychology focuses on the positive events and influences life, including positive experiences, happiness, joy, inspiration, love, positive states and traits like gratitude, resilience, compassion, positive institutions, applying positive principles with entire organizations and institutions. Okay. So we got a little bit more of a grip on this. Even if your professor, like this is like, we're looking at something that might help. Is it going to inform our research? It's okay to look at this, even if your professor like wouldn't accept this as a source because they told you, hey, for this project or paper or whatever, you have to have all academic sources. It's okay to look at research that you can't cite or not able to cite. And that's like, I think, example of what we're doing here. Like maybe if we were writing this paper, I'm not going to put this on my paper, but I'm just learning it. We're learning it for our own knowledge.
Well, we verified these dudes on top here, scientifically reviewed. We can find out more about Joe. Actually, Ross, if you enlarge a little bit and then hover over the eye, you can find out that that's a writer and researcher, and somebody else has a something and something, but it looks like they have a master's and a PhD. And actually, the name of this professor in this hypothetical situation is positivepsychology.com. So we have a pretty good argument that we're building here on how we could use this. So you could see it kind of goes both ways. If you can come back with your professor and say, hey, this is where I found the information. And it does look like, I don't know, is it 2018? Has anything changed in the world of positive psychology? Maybe. But this gives us a good ground level, a good foundation that might go back to our research question that we were trying to search earlier. Now we have a little, does it impact success? Does it impact, again, maybe I'm not married to success at this point. Maybe.
Okay. So what are we subbing out here, fellas? How are we changing in this search?
Yeah, or positive psychology, like effects, or the personal effects, or the effects of positive psychology on people. You know, is there a recipient? Like, if I have someone in my life, if I have Nicole and Ross in my life and they are practitioners of positive psychology, does that help me? Because I'm certainly not the one.
Positive psychology by osmosis.
Yeah, is it like,
Yes.
ooh, hey, you're in the office next to mine. You got the positive psychology going today?
That's not what I'm serving up today, fellas. You know it. Wait,
Uh-oh,
I got a video for that. Wait, do I have
Yeah, wait a
video
minute.
for
Wait,
that?
hold on. Nicole's got a little bit.
Petty Valley.
I'm staying overnight in Petty Valley.
Petty Valley, population one
Mini
today.
vacay.
Population
Staycay.
one. Nicole in the house. Let me get a little bit of a what?
She's
Okay,
like,
there we
why
go.
though?
Okay, Ross. So what do
Okay.
we do? So we have clinical practice, the value. Okay, the value of positive emotions.
Yeah, so when we're looking, I'm still not finding exactly what I want.
No.
But what we could start doing here too, this is another strategy that I like to take sometimes too, is this might give us evidence that we can use to help answer our question, even if it's not specifically saying success. Because like what Jason was saying, I don't know that success is the right word to use here. We might have to come up with something a little bit more concrete than that. But as we're looking at this, I can see, well, what are the impact of positive emotions on things? So maybe that evidence about those positive emotions could be applicable to the point that we're making. Or I saw one about, in organizations, how does that help improve organizational motivation? And maybe that evidence could work. Or maybe as we're looking at this, maybe this is where we find that direction. That's another way we can use the results. It's just to kind of start honing in on the specific things that might work as a topic.
And are we getting anywhere on our Google Scholar? Is this helping us? I see a lot of 2005s and everything. If we remember the
2005, I feel like that's
date,
so.
Yeah, the date that we just looked at on the Peterson article, the definition of psychology, positive psychology, was 2008. So according to my math, that would have come before that even came out. So,
you're right. So like, when Google ranks this stuff, they're really just ranking it based on relevance, and relevance is such a subjective thing that I'm never really sure if it's the best way to sort this. So yeah, I mean, there is a lot of old stuff in there. 2005, I saw it. So we may want to start right off the bat and say, just show me stuff from like the last, since 2019. Now we at least have that much more current resources, and a lot of this stuff, the more current it is, it might actually be more accessible depending on the types of publications it's pulling from.
This one is negative versus positive psychology, a review of science
that one
of
looks
well-being.
good. Correct. I think we all saw that one. Yeah.
I feel like that would, I'm thinking that this article would help give me more of a context of like the opposite. Because sometimes when you're trying to understand something, if you learn about the opposite thing, it gives you a whole context of like both sides of the issue or something. That always helps me. So that's what made me want to look at this one.
So yeah, this is a perfectly good scholarly article. The same kind of stuff you'd find through our library resources too. We just didn't find it that way, right? So when we're looking at this is a very current source. I mean, it looks like it was accepted last year. So very current, comes from a very reputable public. Well, I assume it's reputable because it's a scholarly article here. I don't know much about that publication, but it sounds pretty official.
Multiple authors.
2022. That's really recent.
Yeah, they have credentials here. They're from university. Okay, I think this is probably a pretty legitimate source overall.
Sure, right? And you could probably start picking apart that positive psychology. There's got to be something in there that's going to lead to where it can fill that gap of about success. Like what again, it's very subjective.
They had a little bulleted list, or not bulleted, but like an ABCD, which might help frame out
there it is. I saw it.
Where they were going. Happiness, well-being, freedom.
From their literature review, it looks like.
Underline the conceptual issues. Underlining 3 premises. There is a commitment to one another, doctrine of free will. The assumption is that life of humankind is continued within the framework of it.
And Russ, can we zoom in a little bit? Let's point out a couple of things. We got Reese on the call here. Haley, thank you all for joining us in the IDS. You'll notice some of these numbers here, those years of publication, and those are actually the in-text citations. So if you see Maslow 1981 and Rogers 1989, I'm guessing, Ross, that because they're blue, do they hyperlink down to the bottom?
They're not, because I think when they turned this into a PDF, they didn't do it, but that's just where this is housed. That's all. I think ordinarily, if you had the original source, it probably would be hyperlinked.
Yeah.
So those are going to all be at the bottom.
Yeah. So they're down there. Yep.
If you want to, and I don't know, where you.
Oh, did it take you out of the thing?
Oh, blah,
this is
blah,
how they have
blah.
their sources listed here.
Oh.
Okay.
Interesting. That's different.
Can we? I have a favorite. Can we go to the conclusion because
yeah, I'm sure I can find
I
it.
am like
There's
I
other
read that
sources.
little introduction. I'm just still like, what? So one of the things I used to do, particularly when I was in college, like doing my degrees, a lot of times I would go to the conclusion of an article and be like, okay, can the conclusion of the article, which is supposed to sum up pretty much what the entire thing has said ultimately, can that help me figure out if I should read more of this article? Because if the intro or the abstract is not like cluing me into whether I can tell if it's useful or not, or like I'm going to be able to understand it enough, I would usually also then go to the conclusion, and that can help you too to understand.
Okay.
The literature helps understand positive
A well-being point of view. Okay. Effects on memory, judgments, motivations. Positive effect, assimilative, top-down, familiar.
Oh, the article talks about memory, judgments, motivations, social behavior.
Positive,
okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's really quick. Let's do a finder, Ross, within the paper.
Control F.
Let's find success. Does it say the word success anywhere?
It does not.
It does not.
Or at least it's not searchable in a way that tells me it is.
Wait, do Control F. Isn't Control F going to search?
Yeah, but I think. Oh no, it's just not in this article.
Yep. So the word is negative or positive. So again, I wonder where we got success from.
In that conclusion, it talks about social interactions, like successful. Like they don't use the word success, but that would that conclusion gave me some ideas. Like if I was doing this research myself, I would be like, okay, social interactions. I could search that and a Control F in this article because I didn't realize, or social behavior. I didn't realize that was like an aspect of success. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like being good socially could help your success. Motivation, judgments, memory.
Yeah.
So this clues me in. Okay.
So let's keep this in mind. We have some students who are watching for the IDS class.
Yeah.
One, we used a basic Google search through Google Scholar to enter in our keywords or our phrase. And once we did that, we ended up finding an academic journal article, which was very recent, 2022, that had 4 authors on it, all credentialed authors. And you could start to see the pros and the cons, or in this case, the negative psychology and the positive psychology. But if you could, Ross, we'll put you back in. Could you take a look down on the works cited or the bibliography on the bottom? What is that funny? And then
you did the same thing.
Let's just take. Oh, you did it too.
Yeah.
So let's just keep this in mind. Again, if you're going to be taking the IDS course and you're looking at that information literacy module, these are the citations. They're going to go in alphabetical order from top to bottom. And you notice once again where those blue links are. Any of those that have a DOI, a digital object identifier, those are going to be like the golden ticket, like the pinnacle of good, credible, valuable information. So meaning if you happen to just start seeing those DOIs in any web links, you know that's an indicator that it's going to be a credible and reliable source. And you could see some of those now. Even that one there, Geronimus. They got Geronimus, Reese, Sanderman, Ormel. I mean, my math isn't so good, but that's 4 people that are all putting their reputation and all their credentials on the line, not to be wrong, right? And then you have, that's probably an APA there. You have a sentence-based, mutual, 16 study, the journey. That is pretty good citation there, Ross. It looks pretty good. And then you have the DOI. And again, just keep all that in mind when you're doing your citations. And you could even drop in the chat there. How do you feel about citations? You feel kind of thumbs up, thumbs down, or is it an upside down smiley face that's kind of happy, kind of meh?
See, I thought that thing was the opposite.
Is it? Well,
I thought Reese said it was between happy and meh. Yeah. And I thought it was like, I'm pretending to be happy, but I'm really not, which maybe is the same thing. I don't know.
You know what, Nicole, that is? That's neutral psychology. That is neither positive nor negative. That is neutral psychology, which would be
I've never heard of neutral psychology.
Listen,
Pick
you
that
can
up.
Sussberger that all you want, but that sounds like neutral psychology, and we can get Peterson 2008 back on the phone.
All
And
right.
let's see, is there?
What are we
Let's
doing
put it
now?
in the thing here, Ross. Is there neutral psychology?
Yeah, we're
And we
gonna
put
find
that.
out.
Why did we put that in quotes? Is there any reason for that? Neutral psychology? Let's see.
And I'm glad we're asking Google Scholar because regular
Maybe we
Google.
will put that in quotes.
Yeah, Ross, put
Okay.
in neutral milk hotel psychology, and we'll
Milk
drop my
toast?
favorite band in there.
Milk toast.
Yeah,
Psychology.
neutral milk toast hotel
Somebody
psychology. What's neutral psychology? This is what I'm saying. I think
Politically
they're just
neutral. Yeah, I don't think.
Okay. You invented it. Congratulations.
neutral psychology. That's what I do. I make faces and point. That's my energy level. At a tortoise.
Are we going to the databases?
Well, Nicole, since you brought that up, sure, because another one of the cool things you can do with Google Scholar.
Yo, that's negative psychology, Ross.
Yeah. So
I just
cringe. That made me cringe inside, but you know
All
what?
right.
You're still wrong. I do all the videos at once, and I don't have to
Keep
worry
it
about
real.
them.
Keep it real.
Okay.
So you may have noticed that when I did my search here, we found a lot of links, PDFs and stuff, but there also were several sources that say full text. Another way you can use Google Scholar to your advantage is kind of work backwards. And I do this a lot, especially if I'm not sure where to start. I'll just run some searches through here because what we can do is we can connect the databases. Now, the way you do that is if you come up here to Google Scholar, you go to your settings, you have these library links in your settings that you can, any library that you have access to, like if I had access to University of Central Florida's library stuff, I could put that in here and it would connect me with their online resource. And so I've already done that with Seminole State. And that's how we get to these sources that say full text. So if I was to click on this article, what it will do is it's going to take us back to our library now. And we have this source. So Google knew this source was in our library somewhere. Oh, we could chat with the library, but I'm not going to.
Anytime, 24/7.
Exactly. So here, what we would do, if I wanted to see that article, I couldn't get this through Google. Google did not have a version of this, but it knew that we have it in our library. So what we're going to do is we're going to go where it says available online, and it's going to send us here. And it might give you one or several different links, but any of these should take us directly to this source now. If I click on this link, it would ask us to log in first. I think I'm probably already logged in. But now we got to this is actually kind of like a chapter from a book it was linking us to. I think.
Yeah.
So that was from Growing a Movement. We could probably dig through here and find it.
Oh, it didn't bring you right to it. It brought you.
It didn't because it just took me to a book. Ordinarily, it would take me directly to the article, but I don't actually. It just sent me to the book.
If you look at this item record right here, and we could probably search, like if you look at the top of the item record. No, I mean, in Primo.
Here?
Hey,
No,
notice on there, Ross.
it
You notice that
didn't. Okay, I
that
thought
has a
it was something more
DOI on
specific.
it.
It does.
But it's a book,
Yeah, that's different.
right?
Not exactly sure why.
That one hits different, man. It hits
Because
different.
Well, listed here, it doesn't have a deal.
No, I noticed that. That's why I was hoping you'd go back to the page, and you did. That is neutral milk hotel psychology. It is. It's only supposed to be. Actually, Ross, if you can you copy and paste? So,
Yeah, let's try
Bailey,
that.
everyone watching, you should be able to take that number, that full number, and copy and paste it and put it into any browser, and let's see what it yields. It comes back with link to content and Springer link. There's our book on the left.
Huh.
But like, what
And
chapter were we
linked
looking for in
to the
there?
book.
Well, this looks like it's a chapter called Growing a Movement, Psychologists for Change.
So
That's
that
not the
chapter
name.
was a
Oh, chapter 3.
okay.
So
So
I'm
it's
guessing what this is probably an article that was published somewhere and then it was reprinted in this. I'm speculating, but I
Right.
think that might be the case.
and maybe that handbook is a collection of other articles from
Okay.
multiple authors.
Different authors.
That would make
Okay.
sense. So once
All right.
again, the information detectives have solved the case.
With pictures.
Hit the promo. Hit the video, Nicole. The information
Which
Once
one?
again, the information detectives have solved the case.
What? Oh, wait!
Is that it? Is that the appropriate? Is that the right one? I don't even know. We're just throwing them out there.
Throwing them in.
Yeah, I think it's time for a commercial break. We're back. All right, Ross.
So what I was going to also mention before we close up is that in our library databases, if you were to just start at our main Seminole State page and you could access our databases directly, we have a link to Google Scholar in our databases that's already connected with our databases. So if you search using this link, or if you bookmark this link at home, it will already be tied to our databases. Now, it doesn't help if you go to UCF someday and you need to use their stuff in Google Scholar, but for Seminole State stuff, this link will always get you to our databases as well when you're searching.
Okay.
So when we take a look at the Google Scholar, what we did a couple times is we have, does positive psychology impact success? We really wanted to find a definition for what positive psychology is. We kind of looked at success, and maybe that wasn't the right thing. So you kind of have to play this little bit of a game each time, right? You got your phone ringing there, Nicole. Who's buzzing? Somebody's buzzing.
It's a verified number, but like they I don't know them, and they also don't leave a message. If you have true business with me, you will leave me a message, okay?
Yeah.
And anyone, like, don't pick up these
most
calls.
of us have faux business with Nicole. It's very faux. But anyway, I wanted to walk you through that. And again, we looked at some of those citations. Keep those in mind. You pick a citation preference, or make sure to look at the syllabus and follow the directions there. You're going to have your MLA, your APA, your Chicago. But this was a good example, and you could see, again, make an evaluation. There's multiple authors on there. Many of them had their bios, and you can click on them. But that brings us back to the question, did we answer this riddle? Did we find any research? Did we find any information that says one way or the other how positive psychology impacts success?
Well, I think we didn't dig into those articles because actually the couple that we opened, I mean, they were pretty heady. Like, I was like, what? I thought, let me flit over, and I understand English and I can read the words, but I'm like, wait, what? But when I read the conclusion of that one, yes, it's showing, okay, so yes, positive psychology does impact success, and I think in a positive way. Oh, how convenient. But if we were writing a paper and defending this thesis, we'd have to say how. Like, we'd have to dig into the study and saying, okay, according to so-and-so researchers from so-and-so, like, positive psychology improves social,
what's that voice?
Social.
Is that your academic voice?
It's a positive psychology. What's wrong here?
Because you gotta know, it's not me, so I gotta put on a voice because that's a different character.
But at the same time, we did kind of at least sort of get into the positive as more of the positive, like self-positive, right? It affects your memory. Like, if you're a negative psychology, is it going to have a bad negative? I still don't know. I would actually bring this back to the professor or whoever gave us this prompt. I still don't know where the prompt came from. That's a little sus-burger.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do with that, professor? And again, we're showing you the outlines on each of these steps. And actually, I think, to be honest, Ross, to go against Google Scholar, I think we had better results going to the World Wide Web, and we found positivepsychology.com.
That was a pretty good source.
One PhD, one with a master's degree. It was from 2018. I think something has changed a little bit since then. But
always good to diversify with research, though. Not just. And thank you, Haley. Not just doing websites or doing databases or Google Scholar. It's good to, pull from different, even if you don't cite them all in your paper.
Haley has a great comment about our overall performance and the show. Perfect. It's perfect, according to Haley.
Wow.
Thank you, Haley. That's what Haley was asking about.
Wow, that makes us go to
Happy Valley.
We're
happy now. Someone called us perfect.
Yes. Thank you, Haley. We know that's exactly what you meant. Wink, 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 nudge, nudge, nudge. So keep all this stuff in mind as we continue to bring you these episodes every week. Evaluate after you've located, where you've located the information, where are you getting it from, and then how are you going to use that information? I've kind of given you a little bit of something to form an argument to maybe go back to your professor and say, well, wait a minute. I've looked at this site, and Nicole said sometimes it may say only scholarly sources, but I argue is positivepsychology.com is not It is a .com, but we looked at the
Wasn't
people
that
on
was a
it.
PhD and a MD on that
So,
article that was published there.
So
So
take a look. Keep that in mind. We do have our 24/7 chat. Nicole has the link up on the screen over here in the summer. If you're looking for information, you need quick assistance, we're ready to help you. And so this has been a good look. We looked at Google Scholar. We put the link in the chat there. And remember, this is always each time you're going through these skills and strategies to try to find the information you need to succeed. So,
yeah, it's normal. It's not going to happen like a blink of an eye, snap of a fingers. That's why we model out this process for it, because it's always strategic exploration. And since we do this all the time, librarians, chat us, email us, make an appointment with us, because we can help you. It's like if you go learn how to change your car oil, it's going to take you a longer time. It's going to be harder than if you just pay the money into the mechanic, and he's going to do it like blah. And he might even be half asleep and he could do it perfectly. You know, that's why
she might do it too, Nicole. She might do it too.
Okay. All right.
By the way, Ross had some sass earlier. That was a good sass report. Remember that?
Wait a
That
minute,
was
I
fun.
missed it. What was the sass?
Oh, when he sassed you, he said, "Oh, Nicole." Oh, remember? It's a good thing this is being
Nicole.
recorded.
He
and
was
on
talking to
YouTube.
the academic Nicole with the weird voice. Okay. He
Yeah.
wasn't
Why did
talking
you
to
make
me.
a weird?
He wasn't
Hey,
talking to
Nicole,
me.
can you tell me about your paper?
Oh, yes, I can. Here's my academic voice.
Okay.
And there's Ross.
That's
why he's
right
positive, Ross Martin. That's why, because of
Yes.
positive psychology. I'm just a librarian screaming.
There. Okay. That's
Anyway,
when
we
the
hope
librarians
everyone-
scream, it's time to go.
We hope everyone's still awake. Have a great day or night.
Bye home.